Why did Jesus teach in parables? Well, parables are stories. And people love stories. I have found that out in years of teaching experience. If I were to just put line after line on the chalkboard or on the PowerPoint, a series of bullets, and say, well, this you need to know, this you need to know, this you need to know, here's this important doctrine, students begin to get a little sleepy. But when I say, let me tell you a story, and of course it's taken right out of history, did you know that Mark Antony did this, or Cleopatra did that, or Julius Caesar did something, or Herod the Great, and I tell a story, and it's rather exciting. It's a battle. It's a near miss. Somebody survives, or in that context, Jesus does something, says something, or the early church experiences certain things. Students light up and listen. Why? Because students, people of every stripe and age, love stories. Jesus knew that. He told stories. Instead of saying, let me give you a point-by-point explanation of what the kingdom of God is, first you need to know, second you need to know, I think he wouldn't have had much of a following. But when he said the kingdom of God is like a fisherman who casts his net in the sea and catches all kinds of fish and then sorts it out. The kingdom of God is like 10 maidens who are waiting for the bride and the bridegroom to come back home. And so they have their lamps, and on he goes with his story. People are listening, they're riveted. The kingdom of heaven is like this man who owned a vineyard, and he leased it out to caretakers who were supposed to take care of it. And when it comes time to pay up, share the profits from this vineyard, they don't want to do that. The owner of the vineyard sends his servants, and they get knocked around, they get mugged. One of them gets beaten to death. And then he sends his son. Surely they'll respect my son, but they don't. They murder him. And Jesus asks the crowd, what will the owner of the vineyard do? And his hearers are shocked. They're so absorbed into the story. They cry out, well, he will deal with those murderers. He will put it to them. It would have been fun to watch that, to see people sucked into the story like it was happening right in front of them. And so when Jesus asks the question, what will the owner do? They shout out the right answer. That's why Jesus taught in parables. And people went away with a deep, we might say, personal or even existential understanding of the truth he taught. Not some didactic thing, point one, point two, point three, oh. No, he tells it as a story, and people are excited and go away moved by that. How could anyone hear the parable of the prodigal son? When it gets to the end, and the father tells the older son who is angry at his half-brother, who has been so wasteful, so shameful, so sinful, he's been a disgrace to his family, an embarrassment and a shame for his family in the village setting. Now he comes back and the father wants to throw a big party in his honor. Think how people are drawn in. And Jesus tells the older son, who's always been faithful, always works hard, never has blundered in any way. And he says, all that I have is yours. And the father tells him, you're always with me. I'll bet you there were some people among those Pharisees and scribes who heard Jesus tell that parable, who were deeply moved by that, perhaps ran home to make sure everything was okay with spouse and children. That's how Jesus taught. It was gripping and moving. That's why he had a big following. It wasn't just he healed people and provided free health care. His teaching was riveting and gripping. That's why he taught in parables.